Today, I want to share with you an unlikely story of enlightenment. A long time ago, somewhere in the heart of southern Asia, people whispered about a strange, abandoned village. They said that a phantom genie lived there, a genie that could grant any wish, anything you wanted. Riches, palaces, lovers, power, all of it. There was just one problem, one little problem. If you ask for a desire without knowing the secret mantra, the mantra that could control the phantom genie, the genie would turn you into a donkey. So this ghost town was full of donkeys, not a human in sight. In a nearby village lived a man called Boua. He lived on the street. He did not work. He mostly stole, to be honest. He was not well liked by the community there. And one day, he was stealing a juicy mango from a merchant and he got caught. He just got caught in the act. The merchant, of course, got really angry. And he said, if I catch you stealing again, I will personally drag you to the phantom genie and let him transform you into a donkey. Bob, of course, laughed. A phantom genie? These are children's stories. Stories, yes, but every story has something truthful to it. They say can grant any wish. Any wish. Any wish? Yes, the merchant said. Bubba's voice cracked a little bit. He was a little bit skeptical, but at the same time he had a glimmer of hope. And mostly he was overwhelmed by a wave of greed. Riches. Women, I can have everything. That's what he thought. The merchant overheard that thought because it was a loud thought and said, yes, you can have everything. Palaces, lovers, servants, elephants with golden saddles. You could have it all, Bubba. This planted a desire in Bubba's mind. And a thief's imagination can be very creative. He saw himself dressed as a king, relaxing on cushions, whilst servants were feeding him sweets, as he was lecturing donkeys about karma. I will find this genie, Bubba declared, and I will become the wealthiest man this world has ever seen. Just then, an old man who had been listening from the sides spoke. I would be careful if I were you. I would be very wise, because without the sacred mantra, the genie will not spare you. Where do I get this mantra? Bubba asked. Well, you need to go to the great sadhu. He lives over there, just beyond the street. So Bubba did not waste any time and he ran there. He got there in a second. The great sadhu was sitting cross-legged outside a small house, and Bubba folded his hands and said, Sir, I need something, and you can help me. Please teach me the mantra that can control the phantom genie. The sage opened his eyes, looked at him with like a clear, soft look and said, but why do you want to control the genie? Has he done any harm to you? Well, no, sir, no, but I'm very poor and I have heard that he can fulfill any desire. I'm hungry, sir. I just want food. I just want enough food to live. I don't want to bother anyone. I don't want to steal anymore. Just food and security, sir. The sage looked at him for quite some time and said, but if you want food and security, like a house, why don't you just go work? Why not work? Oh, sir, I will go to work, but I'm too weak from anger, so I cannot work. I need replenishment, I need food. If you give me the mantra, sir, I will only ask for a little bit of food, nothing more. And with that food I can work, I promise, sir. The sage, with his compassion, contemplated for a second and said, well, listen carefully. I will give you the mantra, but you must understand the following. The genie used to be a man just like you, but he was consumed by the desire for gold, for women, for power, for status. He had so much greed for wealth and power. And now he lives feeding on desires. He doesn't enjoy anything anymore. He doesn't want people to bother him with their own desires and demands. If you stay within one simple wish, one simple desire, you shall remain safe. But if you go beyond that, you will need to keep feeding him endless desires. The moment you stop asking him for stuff, the moment you run out of desires, he will fulfill his own desire and turn you into a donkey. Boua swallowed. I understand, sir. Just food, just for survival, sir. I promise. Okay, go to that abandoned village over there, and when the genie appears, chant 4 times the sacred Om, one with each tone, and you will be able to control him with that mantra. But remember, just one desire, just food. Boua said yes, he bowed, overjoyed, and he ran. As he reached the abandoned village, he began thinking, endless desires, no more problems, have so many wishes. I can keep feeding that genie for eternity. I will never run out of desires. He entered the abandoned village and shouted, "Genie, show yourself." Suddenly a mist gathered and a tall, shadowy figure emerged. "What do you want?" the genie asked. Boua remembered the mantra and chanted Om 4 times, each with a different tone. And suddenly a few waves of light appeared, and the genie became so small. He said, "Well, you have bound me. You control me now. Please speak your desire." "Food," Boua said, "a great feast." In an instant, an enormous selection of dishes appeared. Curries, steaming rice, bread, sweets, fruits, drinks, and so on. Boua ate like a king, like a beast. When his belly was full, the old agreement with the sage began to feel very, very small. "Now I want riches, I want gold, I want treasures." Instantly, 100 chests filled with gold appeared at his feet. Boua was ecstatic. He couldn't believe what he was witnessing. This was amazing. "What's your next desire?" Boua got that question from the genie. "Or have you run out of desires?" "Well, not really," Boua said. "You just need to give me a little bit more time to enjoy one desire before I go into another, no? But well, okay. Make me royal clothing, like clothing appropriate of a king. Then build me a shining palace, the greatest palace the world has ever seen. Then destroy this ruined village and replace it with a glorious kingdom, lakes, gates, statues in my name, in my image. Then bring me 10 beautiful women, all deeply in love with me. Then give me an army, like a horse, colossal ships, chariots, everything that I might need, and with my crest in every one of them." Then, each time Boua spoke, the genie fulfilled his command almost before Boua had finished talking. It was relentless. At first, this was thrilling, so many desires, but slowly, it started to become horrifying. He felt his stockpile of desires diminishing, quicker and quicker. What next? Another palace? A second army? A third lake? Everything he had ever fantasized about was already sitting in front of him. At that moment, the genie's eyes started glowing. "If you have no more desires, I will have to fulfill my own, and I will turn you into a donkey," he told him. Wait, Boua said. Wait. He was starting to sweat. Wait a second. Okay, so I have one more desire, okay? Take me to the great Sadhu, now. In an instant, the kingdom disappeared. The women, the soldiers, all blurred away, and Boua found himself exactly where he was, not so long ago, in front of the sage. Master, Boua fell at his feet. I have done everything you warned me not to do. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I lost myself. Now the genie is demanding more and more, and I have nothing else left to ask, nothing else left to desire. Please save me. The great Sadhu, he said, okay, well, you wanted survival only. You said you wanted only food. And then you wanted the world. And now you want liberation from your own greed. Boua said, yes, yes, I'm sorry. He was getting desperate. All right, said the sage with his compassion. There is one last desire that you need to ask the genie then. Tell the genie, my desire is for you to find your own mind. Boua was surprised. His own mind? What? Yes, said the sage. Just say it. Boua turned to the phantom genie, who had followed him, by the way, like a shadow, and said, well, my last desire for you is for you to find your own mind. The genie, he smiled. As you wish, you will not escape me. The genie smiled and started to search. He searched in the sky, he searched in the forests, he searched in the earth, he searched in the palace, in the gold, in the oceans. He searched in other planets, in other galaxies. He searched in his own thoughts, in his energy, in his memories, in his enemies. He searched inside everything he could think of. He searched inside of his chest, in his head, in every cell of his phantom body, and he just could not find. He searched for hours, then hours became days and weeks and nothing. He just could not find it. And exhausted, he finally spoke. I have searched everywhere and I cannot find my own mind. I cannot fulfill this desire. The great Sadhu looked at him. Why not? He asked. Why can't you find your own mind? And the genie suddenly started to tremble. His eyes started to get brighter and brighter. Because my own mind doesn't exist. That's what he said. I cannot find my own mind because it does not essentially exist. And then suddenly the genie woke up and realized, I do not exist as a separate being. In that instant, the genie's entire shape erupted in golden light. The curse had been broken. All the donkeys were reverted back into human beings. And the great Sadhu, he smiled while Boua watched. He was stunned. The greed that just tried to eat him alive now felt ridiculous, like a bad joke that he wished on no one. He looked at the palace, the gold, the kingdom. He felt embarrassed. So he decided to give the kingdom to the poor people. He gave houses to everyone. He gave all the remaining food to everyone. He just kept one for himself, one chest of gold that he decided to offer to the sadhu to build an ashram for sincere seekers. Then Boua became a student of the sage, practicing, watching the emergence and the going away of his own desires one by one. And somewhere beyond all these forms, no longer a slave to desire, rested as pure being, the genie, without form, without anger, was happy, free. This is the story of Boua and the phantom genie that awakened when he tried to find his own mind. Great things can happen when you look within. What are you waiting for?